Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have the North Arm Skaha 2 in carbon fiber. I did review the G10 Skaha 2 last year. That was a loaner. This one is mine, and it's the new carbon fiber one. I'm not sure if the carbon fiber was available at the time that I did the G10 one, but that is an option now. I did not put the other one through its paces a whole lot because it was a loaner, and these take a long time to get. I've been waiting nearly a year for this. I did not get it quite through the conventional sense, but if I would have gotten it in early May, which would have been a little bit over a year. I think I put in my order like April 14th, something like that. Put in my request to be allowed to order. These take a long time to get. I've heard the wait list right now is like a year and a half. I don't know if it's that long or not. I do know that they are making a lot of effort to extend, or to shorten that, not to extend, oh my God, to shorten that order process. They're looking at moving to a new facility, more production facilities, but it's basically a father and son kind of operation, and they take a minute. Nick Shabazz did a very well-known, highly viewed review where he raved about the original Skaha. I guess it wasn't called the Skaha 1, but the first Skaha. They got a really long wait list. They're still trying to catch up. They came out with the Skaha 2 that has a few improvements, and they're still just trying to catch up. It's a very small operation out of British Columbia in Canada. They're all handmade there, and they are really, really cool knives. Again, if you go watch my original Skaha video, I loved it. Put in my order last April, as I said. It's a funny story how I went up with this particular one, but I'm going to save that till the end. You guys, if you don't care about that, you can see it at the end. This is not what this is exactly what I was going to order, but I wound up getting it through other starstruck sort of kismet, whatever word you want to use, ways that I wound up with this one. But what you get, why people love this so much, there's a few things, and we'll get into these more in the review. But first of all, the things people rave about the most is the action. The action is fantastic. We'll get to that. The ergonomics are great. The blade is great. Not doing anything particularly fancy. S35VN, simple drop point, but they do leave the machine lines on here, kind of like Grimsmo does on a lot of theirs. I think it's gorgeous. I really like it. I think the whole overall knife is gorgeous. It's gorgeous in its simplicity. Other than leaving these marks on here, it's a pretty plain looking knife. You just have the North Arm, logo etched in here, the S35VN, and made in British Columbia, which is pretty cool. Hardware is all really nice quality. The carbon is pretty excellent. A lot of people ask me, how's the carbon? I do have one void in it, just one small one right there. That's it. Other than that, here's the other best carbon I have right now is the Spyderco Capara. And if you put them side by side, pretty much the same, except for this just has that one flaw in it. One tiny thing. I am going to use the hell out of this, so I'm not too upset about that. And I did wind up getting it a little bit sooner than if I would have waited. This one was made in November of 2018. It says so when you close it. There's a mark. 11/18. So I don't know if the new ones are more void free or not. This just has one small one. Not too freaked out about it. Quality wise, the only other issue I have with it, and this is even smaller, and as soon as this video is over, I will fix it. Right back here, there's a little, can you hear my, scratching against there. It's just a little scratchy there. I could take it apart and go for 2 seconds with a piece of sandpaper and it'd be gone. That's it. That's the only quality issues I have with it, is that and that tiny little thing. And by the way, probably should open this. These aren't terribly expensive. It's not, a lot of times knives with really long wait lists are because they're horribly expensive. The G10 one's like $187. I do believe this carbon one is something like a little over 200. I think shipping and everything, this one was going to be $236 if I bought it through the site once I was allowed to order one. Not too bad. It's not cheap by any means, not pretended it even is for an S35VN knife, but it's not insane for something that's handmade and everything, and a pretty low volume knife. I think that's actually pretty darn good. I do think the value on them is actually pretty decent. Let's do some specs and some size comparisons before we get too much farther. I managed to close my own notes up here. We have an overall length of 7 3/4 inches. Again, these are 1/2 inch squares. Blade length of 3.3 inches. Blade thickness of just 0.1 inches. And the handle thickness varies widely, but it is pretty thick. At its thinnest point, I measured at about 0.55, and at its thickest point, about 0.65. So it is a pretty thick handle, but we'll get to why I'm not too bothered by that as we go on here. It does definitely have its benefits. Weight, 2.7 ounces for the carbon version, 3 ounces for the G10. Let's just do, I don't usually do weight comparisons very much, but I'm going to here before we do the size comparisons just to show. Load up there. Of course, now it's going to fight me. Stop fighting it. You know I'm going to win. There we go. So yeah, 2.72 ounces. Knife that a lot of people compare it to weight-wise is the Benchmade 940. 2.54. Yes, it's very close to a 940. You're not going to notice that difference, I can tell you right now, in your pocket. Again, the Spyderco Kapara, since I just had it out, 3.3. Quite a bit lighter than that. Oh, and lastly, putting one of our standards. Your PM2 is 3.8, so it's more than an ounce heavier, the PM2 is, than the Skaha. Do some size comparisons. Since I have the PM2 out, we'll start with that. Let's grab the wrong knife there. And there we have. I'm just going to line these up by, try to line them up by the pivots. You can see it's a little bit smaller than a PM2, not dramatically so. Cutting edge is pretty similar, almost the same. PM2 might have just a bit more. This is a pretty generous sharpening choil, which isn't a change from the Skaha 1 to the Skaha 2. They added a much better sharpening choil in there. So because of that more generous sharpening choil, you're getting about the same cutting length, maybe just a bit more cutting edge, I should say, on the PM2. Somebody was opening boxes with this morning and did not clean it off. And then, actually, we'll leave this out here for a second, and we will also compare it to the Para 3. I like having them kind of sandwiched here since I have identical versions. Yeah, you can see it's pretty much right between the size of a Para 3 and a PM2. So it's not a tiny knife, but not a big one either. And now we will do the 940. As we showed, pretty similar in weight. Almost exactly the same in overall length. The 940 is a bit slimmer in almost every dimension except the blade thickness, but this is a bit lighter. And oh hell, we'll throw the Kapara down here below. Kapara is a little bit longer. And then lastly, what will we bring in here? We'll bring in one more kind of wild card. Oh, I had it out yesterday, so we will put the Benchmade Super Freak. Because this is about the same size as your full-size Griptilian or something like that, too, or your normal full-size Freak. So, as you can see, a little bit smaller than that. Yeah, significantly smaller than that, actually, in almost every. It's not much in length, but in the overall girthiness and stuff, quite a bit smaller than the Freak. Okay, let's talk about some specifics. First of all, this blade, that's the most visually distinctive thing about the Skaha. As I said, they leave these machined lines in here. I like it. I like the way it looks, and it slices very well. And again, 0.1 inch blade stock, very thin, but still, you're getting a pretty good tip on there. I do have to say, for such thin blade stock, it's got a pretty good tip. About 17 thousandths behind the edge on this one. Not bad at all. Slices very well. Came with an excellent edge out of the box. I don't know, spoiler alert, how I got this. I did do a trade for it, so I don't know how much the previous owner used it, but I got that it was not much. And I've used it quite a fair bit. As I said, I wanted to put it through more than I put the loaner through. Still slicing really well. S35VN, super easy to sharpen, so I don't mind touching it up when I have to. That'll be perfectly fine. Do these little, not little, I guess, these full-length machine marks affect the cutting? I don't notice it slicing cardboard and paper and stuff. I know on Cedric and Ada's channel, Pete just did a review of it, and he said he thought it helped with some material. And I didn't. He said like he was cutting cheese with it, and I think he said he thought it helped a little bit. Maybe I do know that I was slicing rubber with it just to try it out, and it went right through it a lot better than other knives. I was comparing it actually. I had this out at the same time. That's why I had him out, the Super Freak, and it went better through. It's not. This is still a thin. This is a thin blade, but not as thin as this. It might have been the thinness of the blade. It might not have been the machine marks, but the way Pete explained it, it kind of makes sense that maybe it would work better there. People say, oh, is it going to collect stuff? I mean, it's because it's shiny. You can see I just did those paper tests, and you can see the marks on it. But you just go like that, and it's gone. And that's kind of how I felt with it. The few times I got stuff on the blade, I just, instead of wiping, like this, like I might normally do, I went like that, and it came right off. I don't think it's a big deal. I don't think it's going to collect gunk or anything like that. I think the North Arm stamped logo would collect more gunk than those striations would, and it's not a big deal to get it out at all. I really love the blade on it. Just simple drop point. One of my favorite blade shapes. Nothing complicated about it. Ergonomics. Yes, thick handle for sure, but does it work? Yeah. It feels very, very good in the hand for sure. It's super comfortable. Again, not to keep referencing his video, but because it's kind of funny. He had some ergonomic issues that I don't, and I have one that he didn't mention. So I guess we're kind of even Stevens on this, but I think it works great. You don't feel this pocket clip at all. This wire pocket clip completely disappears. Nice thick swell back here to really get some good grip on. I think this jimping up here is pretty good. It could stand to be 10% less sharp than it is, but it's completely fine. Pete did complain about his finger hitting this and it giving him like a callus because he does those rigorous cut tests with it. Admittedly, I didn't do that, but in my usage, I didn't really find it to be a problem. One thing that annoys me very slightly about it, and I'm not going to make a big deal about it, but I mentioned it in the previous Skaha 2 review that I did of the G10 one. The liner, you can feel that liner lock just a bit. It's not crazy town, but I can feel it a little bit. And that's my really only ergonomic annoyance. And yeah, this could be knocked down 10% and it would be fine. But other than that, I think it's pretty damn good ergonomically. I don't think it really needs a forward choil. I guess they made the sharpening choil so big now that it could be, they could have just made it a little bit bigger and made it a forward choil, and maybe that would be nice, but I don't know. I don't think it really needs to be there. Ergonomically, I think it's pretty darn good. How does it carry? Bring out ye old Wranglers here. The wire clip is not particularly deep carry. A lot of people are kind of ranting about that. If they put a wire clip on it that's flip over, why is it not fully deep carry? Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Some people do like to still have a little bit to grab a hold of. I don't think they went to the wire clip specifically to make it deep carry. I think it was a weight thing, and also the wire clip on the original, or the non-wire clip, the regular spring clip, I'm sorry, on the original Skaha was crap, and everybody hated it. So I think they just went to one of these. I don't think it was the intention to make it deep carry. Could they have? Yeah. That might have been nice, but I'm kind of okay with this, especially in the carbon. I guess if I had they come in some brighter colors. I think they come in a blue and an orange. I'm not positive about the orange. Don't quote me on that. But the blue and actually, I have their site up here now. But yeah, there is an orange and a blue. And yeah, if you had the blue or the orange, maybe you'd prefer to have a more deep carry to conceal it more. But I think it's okay. It is a thick handle, but I don't even notice that, honestly. It's so light. And excuse me, obviously I've waited so long for this. It's been in my pocket every day since I got it, and you literally hardly notice it's there. I can get my hand right by it perfectly easily. Well, there is a significant flipper tab, no doubt about that. It's not crazy. It's not as bad as, I'm trying to think of one that I really hate. Somebody I'm going to have to bang on. Who is it? The Ferrum Forge Crux, the Mass Drop Ferrum Forge Crux. It has, I hate the flipper tab on that. This is just slightly minor annoyance. Again, mine is chamfered pretty well. I don't find it to be sharp or anything like that. I think it's perfectly fine. And again, that's another thing that Pete mentioned and Cedric and Ada, but these are handmade knives. It's quite possible I just got one that's a bit more finished off than his was. I don't know. Mine has that other thing he didn't mention, so who knows. But anywho, it is significant, and if you're going to put something else that's valuable in with that, that's going to scratch up in that pocket, you might not want to. Spoiler alert, don't do that. I usually try not to put anything else in my pocket with my knife, but it's really I've got a lot of knives that are infinitely worse than this. It's perfectly fine. It slides in and out easily, obviously, because it's just got this wire clip and the carbon slides in and out. The spring tension on it's very good. I found the G10 one to slide in and out of the pocket very, very easily also. Banging the camera, sorry about that. But yeah, slides in and out of the pocket easy, carries perfectly fine. Be aware there is a flipper tab, duh. Other than that, it's fine. But the thing that people rave about this knife the most, more than the ergonomics, more than the blade and everything, is the action. It's pretty damn good, I do have to say. I have heard a couple people say that the detent was strong. I don't get that. I've handled the Skaha 1. I had the G10 Skaha 2, and now I've had this one. That's 3, which is, I think, more than most people have handled of the North Arm Skaha, because it's so hard to get their hands on, and they've all been great. Is it a stiff detent? Yeah. Is it hard to deploy? Does it hurt my fingers? No. And it rockets out. It rockets out like a North Korean missile. That's a really bad analogy, because they usually land in the ocean. It rockets out like a Tesla, like a SpaceX. No, they normally land in the ocean too. Yeah, we don't have very good luck with rockets. We should stop using that term, rockets out. Shoots out like a bullet from a reliable gun. There we go. How about that? Is that a better analogy? And then it just drops. This is a very small, keep in mind when you watch me do this. This is 0.1 inch blade stock, only 3.3 inches long. It's a pretty thin blade, and watch this. I have to shake it the tiniest little bit. As I said, I've torn this apart, but I haven't added any additional lube to it or anything. I kind of left it as is and just put it back together. And still, it's practically drop shot. And it's so smooth, if you could feel it. Oh, it's just so good. I can't even explain it. And I think I watched back and forth between my video of the G10 of this and of the carbon. I think the carbon makes a little bit better noise, which is unusual. Usually carbon doesn't make as good a noise. Normally carbon sounds very hollow and crappy. And I know this not just from knife stuff, but from bike stuff too. And it's just, but it sounds good. It just snaps out. I'm not going to say rocket out anymore. I've eliminated that. Snaps out really well. Oh, the action on this is so addictive. I know I did that top 10 fidget-friendly knives. If I was redoing it today, this would probably win it, or at least be in the final 2. It's just so much fun to fiddle with. I've really enjoyed fiddling with it the last several days I've had it. It's been a blast. So what is my overall opinion of this? Is it overhyped? No. I said that in the last one. I still feel that way. Yeah, it takes a long time to get, but it's not overpriced. So get a hold of yourselves. That's kind of what my opinion is. Yeah, it takes a long time. They're a small company. If I owned that company, and I think I said this in the last video about the Skaha, if I owned that company, I'd be charging $300 for these things because people would pay it. You have a 1.5 year long list, you jack up the price. That's how I would operate. Maybe I'm a terrible person, but that's what I would do. They haven't done that. So I can be upset. It's a small operation. It's like, as I understand it, it's like 2 guys. So fine, I can deal with that. Am I upset that I would have waited 13 months if I would have gone through with my regular order? No. I mean, yeah, of course I wanted it sooner, but I wasn't upset about it. They were pretty upfront the whole time that it's going to take a long time. I mean, it's not, I think initially when first the Shabazz effect happened and their order list got long, I think for a little while they were maybe a bit overly optimistic, but they're not now. Now you email them, They email you when your time is coming up to order. You have a week to pay for it, and then you get it. You have to prepay the money. It's not like they're sitting on your money all that time. They don't have your money during that whole time, so I'm fine with it. Didn't really bother me. Love the blade, love the ergonomics, with one little minor exception. The build quality it definitely feels handmade, but it's like a couple little flaws. One little void in the carbon, and the one little imperfection up here. One of which bothers me not at all, and the other I'll fix in 2 seconds. I'm relatively okay. Yeah, do I wish it was perfect? Of course you do. You always do. It comes with some nice little personalized touches. It does feel very handmade in the fact that it comes in a box full of hay, which I thought was kind of neat. My cats were very interested in that. It does just come in this bag. It comes with a nice little note and everything, and explaining stuff. Congratulations on owning the Skaha 2 folding knife. It's funny that a lot of times you get those congratulations on buying your $30 knife that everybody has, but this one, you do actually feel like congratulations are deserved because it takes a minute or two to get one for sure. That's my end of the review part, is that I think it's a great knife. I think the hype is real. Is it maybe a bit overhyped? Yeah, of course, lots of things are, but I think it's worth the wait. It's definitely worth the money, and that action, and just the look of it, and that blade and stuff, and just the way it's so light and just so easy to carry. Is it something I'm going to take care of and make a safe, queen, and cherish? No, because I could get another one. You can find them on the secondary market. It would take me a long time to replace it, but I could. So it's definitely, like I put it on my video about my never sells. It's on my never sells because it took me so long to get one. But it's definitely not on my list of things I never carry by any means. I'm absolutely going to carry it and use it. I have been. It's just a fantastic everyday carry knife. It really, really is. Everybody calls it EDC perfection. It's close. It's pretty close. Now on to my unique story. How did I wind up with this one? I'm not going to say who I traded with to get it. If he wants to say it, he can do it. It's fine. I don't mind at all. Particular guy mentioned in a particular video that he was thinking about selling one of these. Selling this one. He showed it in the video. Said I might sell it. I don't carry it, and I Instagrammed him and said, "Yeah, how much?" All he wanted, completely fair, what he paid for it. He could have charged a lot more than that. Trust me. He could have charged a lot more. People are charging more for them, I've seen on the secondary market. And I said, that's completely fair. I'm a bit broke at the minute. Let me think about it for a day or two. I'll probably going to do it, but I'll let you know. Within an hour of this, I got an email from North Arms saying, hey, you're eligible to order your knife. It'll be delivered first week of May. And I was like, oh, man. But again, I was kind of broke. And then later that day, I got some surprise bills I wasn't expecting. And I became really broke. So I emailed back the guy who wanted to do the trade, or he wanted me to buy it from him. And I said, man, I don't know. I just got the order. Isn't that funny? And I'm too broke to buy either of them. I don't know what's going to happen. And he goes, well, how about a trade? And he wanted something specific of mine, which is also hard to get. But I know the people who make it. I'll be able to get one, the next time they're available. And I thought about it, but I really need it for another video. And we came to a completely risk-free agreement with me. I traded him a particular knife and a little bit of cash, and he sent me this. And the other knife, when I do need it for another review, I can borrow it back. And he's got another one coming anyway, so maybe I'm just going to buy it back. Who knows? But it wound up being completely risk-free for me. And it's just funny that, I think why the story is funny is I waited nearly a year from the time I requested to get one of these. And then I had the opportunity. I could have bought 2 in a day if I wanted to. I could have bought 2, not even 2 in a day. I could have bought 2 within an hour. It's just weird. But I was going to get this exact same spec, carbon fiber. I was going to get the exact same thing. It's just funny that you wait all that time. What is it? With a bus stop, you wait all day and then 2 come at once or whatever. I don't know. But haven't watched Forrest Gump enough. Is that a Forrest? It's not a Forrest Gump thing. I don't know what I'm rambling about now. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this little review, and I hope you guys found that story somewhat amusing. I've been Brian. Have a good one.